Don't pick up the glasses yet because I have to tell a few stories about Huang. For those of you that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Garry Dayton. My wife April is here with me as well. And our relationship with the Huangs, and Linda assured me we would get a Huang overload today, so it's nice to see all of you. But our relationship with the Huangs go back to when Martin first joined the company. And Martin was being introduced, and I said, you know, I was in Keelung in 1971, and I didn't see you there. And I said, well, I might have been there, but maybe not. But we became close friends ever since. And there have been a lot of things that have happened. And very early, when Martin joined the company, as you know, Martin likes to talk.
Shy and humble, come on.
And Frank was a very little boy, and we were in the company, and Martin came in with Frank, and our boss's name was Frank. So Martin said to Frank Narby, he said, oh, I want you to meet my son Frank. He said, I named him after you.
Boy knows him.
And Marty developed that type of reputation for a sense of humor from that point on. And I have had so many wonderful memories about times with Martin and Fifi. Some of the times with Martin I'm not going to tell you about. But I do have some that I will tell you about. And they're wonderful memories. I have to change some of them because we have younger people in the room. But those of you that have ever been to Houston, Texas, I lived in Houston from 1976 to 78. And Martin and I opened the Ruth Chris Steakhouse in Houston the first day they were open. So they were actually looking for customers and we wanted a meal, so it worked out just great. One of the pleasures we had was meeting Martin's mother. And we started learning a little bit of Chinese from Martin to try and communicate with Mrs. Huang, but we called her Nai Nai. And my son was very young at the time, and he also called her Nai Nai. And we had been to visit them a couple of times, and one day my wife was shopping with my son, he was a little guy, and he saw this elderly Chinese lady walking through the supermarket, and he ran after her saying, Nai Nai, Nai Nai, Nai Nai, Nai Nai. And the lady didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that was a great.
We've had, Martin and I have had a lot of trips to Asia together. And it's funny, we used to argue about which airline to fly, because Fifi wanted the frequent flyer points on Northwest. And I wanted to fly on Singapore Airlines because the service was great and the women were beautiful. So once in a while Marty would go with me, once in a while he'd go on Northwest. All of these trips, one I remember very well is we were working a trip that traveled so quickly, so frequently back and forth to Massachusetts. We flew from Taipei to Massachusetts and then back to LA and back to Taipei. We had the same airline crew on the trip back. So there was a Singapore Airlines crew, and remember, this happened, Marty, how long ago? 25 years ago? Longer? And I remember the name of the stewardess. Because the stewardess sat in her seat. And no. This stewardess name was Sally Lim. And she sat in the seat, and Marty was talking to her for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And she kept talking, and she sat in the stewardess seat, and she looked at him, and she said, So gu yao ni Huang Shen Sun. Marty, what does that mean? It means I can't stand you anymore. So then on a trip, Marty is very, very opinionated. And Martin likes to argue, And he's friendly with everybody unless you are not friendly to him. And then Marty doesn't really engage very well. So we were on a flight one day, and he was sitting next to a gentleman who was really being a jerk. Really being a jerk. Marty tried to be friendly, and he wasn't friendly at all. So when the fellow fell asleep, Marty got out of his chair, stood on the arm to get his briefcase out of the overhead, and dropped it on him. And he woke up, and he looked at him, he said something bad, and Marty said, oh, sorry. Marty went to put it up again, and he dropped it on him.
Big baddie.
And Marty looked at me and winked, and I said, I don't think it was an accident. So we used to stay in Taipei at the Howard Plaza.
Oh, yeah.
And at the Howard Plaza, Marty would say to me, oh, I have to go out and exercise. I have to go out and exercise because I'm getting too fat. I said, Marty, you're not fat. I said, I'm fat. You're not fat. He said, no. He said, I have to exercise. So we came off the elevator one day, and one of the ladies working at the desk looked at us and they said, Da Bonsu, Shao Bonsu. Who is Da and who is Shao? I'm Shao. So that's Marty will call me that on the phone now. Hey, Shao Bonsu. So my very first trip to Taipei, it was warm in the summer, I think, and we were going back to the hotel, and I said, I want to get a shower, I want to get freshened up, I'm going to go to dinner. And our agent said, why don't we go to the barber shop, have a haircut, shampoo, and have a little shoulder massage? And I said, he said, no, you really should. So I did. I loved it. It was great. No, you can't get that in the United States. So I said, every day I say, Marty, can we go back to the barber shop? So one day on another trip, we were there, we were getting a shoulder massage. Marty got up, put his glasses on, he said, Garry, that's my father-in-law. I said, no, it's a little barber shop in Taipei. I said, yeah, it's his father in the chair. I have to go talk to him. True stories. You can't think this, dream this stuff out. So we're at the Taipei train station one day, and I'll change this story a little bit, but all the men in the room will understand, and the women will too. We're at the Taipei train station one day, very early in the morning. It's like 5, 6 o'clock. Something. Yeah, we were going to find a little propeller company in the middle of Taiwan. It's Martin and me, and this very beautiful Chinese lady in a black and white dress. Very pretty. So we're standing there. We're about as far away as we are to very, very close. And the train comes blowing through the station, express train, and it's like a Marilyn Monroe thing. So we're dressed. So Marty said, did you see what I see? I said, yeah, I saw what you saw. So I said, nothing for a minute or two, and Marty says in Chinese to the lady, so where are you going to today? And she says back in English, well, I'm from Los Angeles. So we end up in Korea. In Korea, we have a lot of labor unrest at the shipyards. And we were in a taxi, no, in a Korean small car with a Korean driver, a Korean agent, Mark, and me. And they started to have a labor union unrest, and almost a riot is starting. So I started getting very nervous. I said, Marty, we're going to be in trouble if they start to riot and get things all riled up and start really raising a ruckus here. And he looked at me and said, "What do you mean we round by?" "Well, the only Caucasian in the car. I'm not in trouble. You might be in trouble."
Like the condo and
And the stories go on and on. That's just a short segment. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience to know Martin and Fifi. And I guess the best thing I can say about my relationship with Marty is in life and in business, you make a lot of acquaintances, but you have very few true friends. And I consider Martin a true friend.
Thank you.
Please raise your glass, and a toast to Huang Chawen.
Thanks, Helen.
Cheers.
Too many stories.
Yeah, follow